So here's a video I thought I'd never make. A second dashcam video on the XFR. And the reason I'm doing another video is because I'm actually replacing the dashcam. The dashcam that I actually did in my previous video turned out not to be very good. It was switching on randomly and switching off randomly, and I would check because if you guys remember, I actually used the 12-volt socket to power it, and I would check the 12-volt socket and it had a little light on it on the dashcam's connector, which was always working, it was always on, which meant that the dashcam itself was turning on and off by itself. So I could not remedy that, and not only that, it took terrible footage. I mean, the ad on the camera actually said it was a 1080p with a 720p rear camera. Now, if you remember, my previous X260 XF had a 1080p with a 720 rear camera, and that was great. But this camera, I'm actually glad I broke the cable to the rear camera for the first camera, because it would have been a nightmare to undo everything and, you know, take the cables back out again. So I didn't even bother fitting the rear camera. I did order another camera for it, a rear camera, but I never fitted it because I wasn't happy with the footage. And I don't always check my dashcam footage, but I thought it was just a setting, and I realized it was set at 720p. I set it at 1080p, and then I took it for a drive, checked the footage, and it was still the same. So I think that camera actually only records at 720p, and the seller lied to me. And that unfortunately does happen sometimes on AliExpress. So luckily I had ordered another camera, but that camera didn't arrive, and I ordered the camera that I'd fitted first second, because the first camera didn't arrive yet, and there was an issue with customs clearing and all that kind of thing. I'm going to do comparison footage later in the video and show you guys the comparison between the two, and you're going to see a clear difference between the 1080p and the 720p. So I'm just going to show you guys how I'm actually hardwiring, because the difference between the previous camera and this camera is that I'm actually hardwiring this camera to the car, and I'll show you guys how I do that. So I've got my wire here, and I've run it up through here and behind this box. I don't know what that is, it's a sensor or something. And then my wire comes out here behind the airbag, and I've run it all the way down here behind the airbag and down here, through here, and in that little hole over there, because that comes out by my fuse box. Taking a look inside the fuse box, we can see I've actually used fuse 24 and 35. They are the uppermost two fuses. Now the one that has the yellow wire is my battery constant live, which will constantly feed power to the dashcam, so I can use a parking mode if I want to. And the red wire is my accessory wire, so the dashcam will automatically turn on when I start the car or when I open the door. Now, we all know that these XFs switch everything on the moment you pull the door open, but that only works for about 4 minutes, and then everything turns off again. So when you actually turn the car off and you walk away from it, you're still going to have another 4 minutes worth of sort of parking video. So all I'm going to do is, and the other thing is, what I did is I put my ground wire on this bolt over there. I did test it with my test light, and this is a ground wire, so I was going to do, bolt it onto there, but I was very happy when I found out that it's a Torx 27, and I was very happy when I found out that I could actually use that as my ground. And the ground also just runs down here and into there, and it's pulled pretty taut, not very taut, but it's pulled nicely, and it's going to be out of the way of everything over there. So now all I have to do is get my A-pillar trim back up, and then I have to actually fit the dash cam. I've had to stick a new decal on here, and like I showed you guys in my previous video, I made this decal for the windshield so that the camera wouldn't be able to be seen once it's actually mounted up here. Now this camera actually has this piece that comes around over here, which the other one stopped over there where this join is, and I actually like that because the cable is actually going to be hidden now. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to take the cover off the tape that they've got on here, but I'm going to also augment it with this tape that I have here. And the reason I'm going to do that is because the dash cam is pretty much flat, and the windshield actually has a contour to it. So when I stick this completely flat onto the windshield, it actually tends to pull the decal away around this area over here because there's so much strain on the decal. So I don't want to put too much strain on the decal, and for that reason I'm going to just supplement with some of this really soft tape that has some give in it, and hopefully it's not going to pull the decal off the windshield, and it'll look nice because it did create some bubbles with the previous dash cam that I had on there. And once I have it stuck on, I'm just going to do a test to see what it all looks like. There's the dash cam there, it's on, and as you can see I've tucked the wire in under the hood lining. And I can see it's recording on my phone, and the app I'm using is Road Cam. So that seems to be the best app to work with this dash cam, and I really can recommend this particular camera because I can already see that the image is crystal clear and it's really going to work nicely. And what's going to happen now is that the dash cam is still running even though I've switched the accessory off, and it's going to run for approximately 4 minutes, and when the car shuts everything off, the camera will shut off. So I kind of like the idea that it will still record for another 4 minutes when I turn the car off. And you know, just looking at it from here, from this perspective, it's very unobtrusive and one can't really see it all that much, so I'm very happy with that result. So that's what the decal looks like on the windshield, and as you can see it's not pulling the decal away, having put that double-sided tape on now. So that spongy double-sided tape really does help for the contour of the windshield, and the dash cam itself seems very unobtrusive as well. Just want to come around this way, and we can see the lens, and that's good. I want people to know that I do have a dash cam. The other thing I forgot to tell you guys is that the lens is adjustable. Looking at the lens here, you can see that the lens can actually be tilted up or down, and I've got it on the setting that it's on now is as low as it can go, and I think that films very, very nicely, because what's going to happen is if your dash cam is facing too high, you're going to capture quite a lot of the sky, and it's going to contrast the camera in such a way that it's going to try and compensate for that, and then it's going to make what's actually going on the road very dark. So you can actually see quite a lot of my car's hood in the footage, and I will take some footage and I will put it up here now with a comparison to the old one. I'm very happy with this camera's results. If you are looking for a dash cam for your Jaguar XF, it does help to use fuse 24 and 35 for your 24 for your live, your battery positive, and 35 for your accessory wire. A lot of the fuses in this car do not even match what it says in the book, especially the fuses in the trunk. They don't match at all, actually. And this car, I think the XFR has fuses for things that the other models just don't have. And I'm putting the link to this camera in my previous video as well as this video in the description below. So I just want to thank you guys for watching, and for those of you who've been following my videos regularly as well, interested in what's going on with the XFR, really appreciate you guys. I feel like it's a really great community that I've created on my channel, and you know, we all have the same cars, and it's really nice to talk to like-minded people as well. That's why I try to answer every single comment, especially if you guys ask me questions. I get a lot of questions on my older videos where people want to know things and how to do things, like how to set the parking brake and that kind of thing. So if you're interested in what's going to happen next with the XFR, stay tuned for the next video because it's going to be a doozy. Thanks for watching. Cheers.